Amang affecting the Bicol region of the Philippines. The first storm of the season in the Western Pacific is affecting the Philippine Islands and is just along the coast of Catanduanes right now at 14 degrees north, 124.3 degrees east. A tropical storm with 40-mile-per-hour winds indicated by ASCAT. A central pressure of around 1002 millibars moving westwards at 5 miles per hour or 8 kilometers per hour. As of 8 p.m. Philippine time this April 11th, on our satellite imagery there, and its winds, as mentioned, 40 miles per hour, that's 65 kilometers per hour. A very small wind field at the moment, which is only just starting to branch out, but there it is, and you can see the location in relation to the islands on the map, and it will continue to move west-northwestwards, although it doesn't look like it will last very long despite its decent appearance right now. It is only 11 kilometers from Pandan on Catanduanes, 47 from Virac, 122 from Naga, 346 from Batangas and 360 from Manila. A significant area of the eastern coast of Luzon is under Signal 1 warnings right now, extending as far north as southern Isabela province in northern Luzon. Not quite reaching Manila, but certainly along the eastern coast there of Luzon. Well, the cyclone will make conditions difficult across southern and eastern Luzon this week, with flash flooding possible closer to the centre of the storm. I think the main risk will be hazardous travel. We're not expecting widespread flash flooding from this because the convection doesn't appear to be particularly strong and the sea surface temperatures aren't quite up to scratch just yet. So I don't think we're going to see, of course there is always the possibility for flash flooding, but certainly not on a massive scale like we see with other storms. And here is the expected track over the next few days. Those winds, according to models right now, will disappear quite quickly, although the remnants of the storm will remain over the Philippine Islands for a little while before the storm dissipates completely by the time we get to the weekend. So this could well be a very short-lived storm, at least in terms of the amount of time it gets to produce tropical storm force winds. There's all of the Signal 1 warning areas there on that map in the blue from Pagasa, and here we are right now with 40 mile per hour winds indicated by ASCAT, and the JWC haven't called this a tropical cyclone yet, but they are watching it very closely. The JMA have it listed as a tropical depression, and of course they haven't given it an international name yet, but that may still be on the cards. Here's the track forecast from Pagasa, and you can see there they expect it to remain a depression. They have it a depression as well, and expect it to remain as a depression for the entire period there up until eventual landfall in Aurora province by the looks of things there by the time we get to Friday morning, it seems. Here's the GFS scenario, and you can see there it just fades out rather quickly, but you can just about trace its remnants moving up the western coast of Luzon and then possibly circling back round, but there's really hardly anything left of it by that point. It barely really warrants a mention, but certainly at the beginning of that model run it looks pretty decent with those tropical storm force winds, and then eventually you can see that centre just passing by the Polillo Islands and into central Luzon. Interesting, certainly. And this is the projected radar simulation, and you can see there the higher amounts of rain, they start to disappear quite quickly again, although a second burst there over the Luzon mountains and maybe a third burst as well, which will increase those rainfall totals, but we're certainly not expecting massive rainfall amounts. We're expecting maximums probably up to around 200 millimeters. We'll show you on the rainfall chart shortly, but certainly after the storm passes through the southeastern part of Luzon, they don't get very much rain afterwards, so it's certainly going to be the beginning part of this storm for concerns there. And here is the projected rainfall amounts. And there are quite a few areas that will at least get 6 inches, that's 150 millimeters, marked in those little yellow spots there. quite a few locations down in the southeastern tip of Luzon, on Masbate, on Romblon, and around the western side of Luzon and over the mountain areas particularly, and in Aurora Isabela provinces. A few hot spots there, getting up to around 6 inches, and that once again is 150 millimeters. In Manila, only around 2 inches maximum there, that's 50 millimeters, and in a lot of the other major cities in that region, we're only expecting 2 to 3 inches, up to possibly 100 millimeters. Sea surface temperatures, on this graphic it underperforms a little bit in terms of the numbers. So we are looking at around 26-27 degrees Celsius sea surface temperatures. They'll drop slightly as the storm nears land. On the western coast, a little bit warmer, getting up to around 28-29 degrees Celsius possibly, but certainly decent enough for tropical cyclone development, but not fully enough for it to take a massive advantage like we usually see storms do in this region, bulking up with huge amounts of convection. And we'll show you what it looks like now. There it is. And you know, usually you see a massive burst of cloud over the center, but this one is quite different. It's a very broad system. You can quite clearly see where the center of it is when you look at that rotation. It's certainly got a decent rotation there, but continuing towards Catanduanes, just a little burst of convection there, but generally the cloud cover is fairly low, and that's why we're not going to expect massive amounts of rainfall, because this trend will continue, and in fact the storm may start to look worse over time, at least after 12 hours from now, as it continues towards the west to west-northwest. But still looking decent there, and certainly will be a threat to those who are unprepared for this storm, so hopefully people are vigilant with this one. Cyclone Amang with Signal 1 warnings for large parts of Luzon.